have already moved games to bigger arenas, because they know what to expect when Caitlin Clark comes to town. Initiated wings rookie like Clark, Bueckers will likely have to adjust to a learning curve.
It's just really hard to impact the game as a rookie. That's what WNBA general managers are saying about Paige Bueckers right now. Not exactly what fans want to hear about the UConn superstar, right?
On the idea that Paige Bueckers is about to come into the WNBA and have the same kind of impact as Caitlin Clark.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's games are being moved to 20,000-seat arenas, while Bueckers can't even sell out a 7,000-seat venue for her debut. Is the Paige hype already fizzling before she even steps on a WNBA court? The brutal truth about these two rookies might surprise you. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Let's talk about the reality behind all the hype. While social media is buzzing about Paige Bueckers being the next face of the WNBA, the actual league executives are singing a completely different tune behind closed doors. What these GMs told ESPN about Paige is eye-opening and honestly pretty brutal. One GM straight up acknowledged that Bueckers has an MVP ceiling, which sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch. They immediately followed up by saying her potential wasn't as apparent as A'ja Wilson or Caitlin was coming out. Translation: she's good, but she's no Caitlin Clark, at least not yet. And it gets even more revealing.
He could never be on Caitlin level, not in this juncture of college basketball. No, she's too damn old. And
this same GM pointed out that Bueckers needs a little more self to get a little more selfish to get to that level. That's basically code for she's too passive right now. These GMs aren't questioning if Paige can eventually become a superstar. They're just pumping the brakes on expecting immediate dominance. Think about the different expectations these two players are facing. Clark walked into the WNBA carrying the weight of saving the league on her shoulders. Every move she makes is scrutinized by millions. Bueckers? She's in this weird middle ground where she's simultaneously hyped as a future star, but also given room to develop gradually. You know what's really interesting here? Not a single GM is saying Paige lacks talent or won't eventually lead a franchise. They're just being realistic about rookie development.
Is there a possibility that Paige Bueckers can't sell out her WNBA debut?
The path from college superstar to WNBA domination isn't a straight line. It's full of adjustments and learning curves. And let's not forget the physical demands waiting for these rookies. The WNBA's 44-game regular season is a marathon compared to the college schedule. Even the most talented players often struggle with this transition. Your body needs time to adapt to playing against stronger, faster opponents night after night. In a way, these GMs are actually doing Paige a huge favor by setting more realistic expectations.
A handful of WNBA general managers were asked by ESPN for their thoughts on what Bueckers' rookie season could look like.
Without the pressure to immediately match Clark's historic rookie season, Bueckers can focus on developing her game at a sustainable pace. She can address that selfishness issue the GM mentioned without the spotlight blinding her every step of the way.
But I am not expecting a Caitlin-like impact, and that's an unfair bar to set.
The numbers don't lie, folks. While we've been debating potential and GM predictions, there's a financial reality staring us right in our faces. The ticket sales gap between these two rookies tells a story that no amount of analysis can deny, and it's absolutely jaw-dropping. Here's the brutal truth. Caitlin Clark's games are literally forcing the Fever to relocate to venues triple the size of standard WNBA arenas.
Have already moved games to bigger arenas. Because they know what to expect when Caitlin Clark comes to town.
We're talking 20,000-seat stadiums that still manage to sell out. This isn't just unusual. It's completely unheard of in the history of the league. No rookie has ever generated this kind of immediate demand. Not ever. Not even close. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers can't even fill a standard 7,000-seat arena for her debut. Those empty seats speak volumes. Sections of unsold tickets remain available with her first professional game rapidly approaching. For someone who dominated college basketball and entered the league with significant hype, that's a serious wake-up call.
I think Paige just needs a little more to get a little more selfish to get to that level.
This ticket sales disparity reveals something deeper than just popularity. It shows which player is actually bringing new eyes to women's basketball. Clark isn't just attracting die-hard WNBA fans. She's pulling in people who never watched a women's basketball game in their lives. That crossover appeal is marketing gold. You can practically hear the cash registers ringing around Clark, while Bueckers' commercial impact remains theoretical. Imagine what sponsors are thinking when they see these numbers. One player is generating immediate revenue, while the other has ticket prices that might actually drop as game day approaches, a telltale sign of sluggish sales.
Initiated wings rookie. Like Clark, Bueckers will likely have to adjust to a learning curve.
The fascinating thing is how we got here. Clark's Final Four run became a cultural phenomenon that transcended sports completely. Regular people who couldn't tell you the first thing about basketball suddenly knew Caitlin Clark's name. Bueckers, despite her incredible college career, just didn't capture the mainstream zeitgeist in the same way. What we're witnessing isn't just hype, it's the Caitlin Clark effect, reshaping the entire economic landscape of the WNBA.
With the W's 44-game regular season, though no one has told her that reality is coming yet.
Teams are scrambling to accommodate crowds 3 times larger than normal, while Bueckers' debut has fans taking more of a "we'll see how she does first" approach. But here's an interesting twist. Maybe these lower expectations could actually benefit Paige in the long run.
Have any concern about Bueckers' ability to carry an organization?
Without the pressure of immediately filling arenas and saving the league, she can develop more organically. Sometimes the player who isn't carrying the weight of an entire sport on their shoulders ends up having the more sustainable career. So let's be real here. The anonymous GMs who talked to ESPN weren't throwing shade at Paige Bueckers. They were just being honest about expectations. This isn't about Paige lacking talent. It's about recognizing that not every rookie journey looks the same. The beauty of this whole situation is that the WNBA gets 2 completely different types of stars entering at once. The league doesn't need Paige to be Caitlin 2.0. In fact, it's better if she isn't. Both players can contribute to the WNBA's growth in their own ways. Clark might be the immediate box office draw, but Bueckers could be building something equally valuable over time.